to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently. We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for P0rn and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. Also, thanks to those of you tuned in on the Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur TV show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Sunday Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and like and share the video. Subscribe to the channels if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Also, please double check and make sure, Juju said hashtag buy a wig, okay? Please double check and make sure that you're still subscribed to the channels, specifically if you have not been receiving your notifications. Also, if you have any problems or grievances to file, once again, this is not an HR department. Please just exit stage left. Save us all the time and trouble. Okay, also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr_A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. Okay, so I apologize for being late, beloveds. I had something in my eyes. You can see my eyes might be a little bit red. But so anyway, hello, Mr. Hotel, Shawshana, Juju's in the house, Claudette, Obsidian Blaze, the lovely T. Okay, Eileen Jones, Reggie is here, Brandslayer TV, Hundia, Virgo Lion. All right, Queen Sam, Donna is here, King Tutoring. All right, let's get ready to get black into it. All right, Shabaka in the house, Nathalie, Gina. Okay, Emperor Rex, Laverne, I see you, beloved. Rod Breeze. Okay. Locked Vegan is in the house. I hope you got that Royal Vegan Cookbook. Okay, Bethia Yah is in the house. All right. So let's get into it, King Legina. I see you, beloved. Shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. All right, let's get into it. Hold on, let me get this stuff situated right here. Danny Joe is here. My chat is frozen, so let me pull this up on my phone so I can see what y'all talking about. So first things first, let's get into the update of the shooting that happened Friday night, almost right before midnight in Cleveland, Texas. Okay, San Jacinto County. So the suspect is still on the run. Okay, they've not found him. The manhunt has stretched, and this is an update from just 2 hours ago. It's the same thing. I did a TikTok on this, like maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's still the same update reported as of 2 hours ago. They say he could be anywhere at this point. This is like the second day that they have the manhunt going on. Now they first started searching in and around the area where the shooting occurred. They then spread out to 10 to 20 miles. They found clothing that was abandoned and a phone that they believe belonged to him. And so also the dogs lost track of the scent. Okay. So they don't know where this man is. Okay. They don't know where he is. Francisco Oropeza. Let me put his picture up on the screen. And for those of you, and that's a tattoo that he has. Okay, that's a tattoo that he has on his arm also. Very sad chain of events, supposedly. For those of you who don't know exactly what happened, well, they say that Oropeza was outside. He's 38 years old. He was outside firing his gun on a Friday night just before midnight, and the family, a member of the family, went out to ask him to stop firing because they were trying to sleep, as well was a baby that was in the house. And this was a Honduran family. There's about 10 people in the house. All of the people were not suspected to be family members. But anyway, he entered their home after this exchange, came in there and shot 5 of them. It's all just very sad. I can only imagine the gruesome horror that the police encountered once they arrived, because they say there was 2 women found in a back bedroom, and they were lying on top of 3 younger children that they were obviously trying to shield with their bodies. They were deceased. He took out 5 people, including an 8-year-old child. This is also sad. And all of the people were shot from the neck up. Okay, execution style. He meant to do just what he did. That is sadly the little 8-year-old who lost his life. Okay, 8 years old. This is also terrible. And they say that the police had in fact been to Oropeza's house before about him firing his gun. Now, one of the neighbors said that they heard the gunshots right around midnight, but they didn't think anything of it because it's commonplace for people to be out there firing off rounds on the weekends just to wind down. I don't know what neighborhoods they do that in, but anyway, that's what they said. It was no big deal. So anyway, they have not found him yet. Okay, so let me just give you a description of him. Now, they say also that a judge has issued an arrest warrant for him and assigned a $5 million bond. Okay, they believe he's armed and dangerous, though they think that he used an AK-15 style rifle. I'm sorry, an AR-15 style rifle during the commission of this crime. But the police believe they have that weapon in custody. However, they think that he possibly has another weapon on him and is considered to be armed and dangerous. He is a Hispanic man who stands approximately 5'8", last seen wearing jeans, a black shirt, and work boots. But however, due to the fact that they found abandoned clothes, he likely may have changed clothes. They say that he's believed to be traveling on foot, that he fled the scene, likely either walking or on a bicycle. Okay, so they don't have any idea where this man is. This is all so crazy. They have no idea where he is. And the sad thing is, some of the people that were in that home when this all happened had recently just moved in. Okay, talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Very sad. So let me give you a list of the victims. And I want you all to pay attention because there has been so many shootings this year alone, and we're only in the 4th month of the year. There's been so many shootings already, and there has been many shootings over the past few years in Texas, in fact. Okay, now we have this shooting, and then you had the Rob Uvalde shooting, right, last year. And then you have the racist attack of the El Paso shooting in Walmart, 2019. And then in 2017, there was a shooting in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Okay. Okay, so here are the victims. Okay, 21-year-old Diana Velasquez Alvarado, 31-year-old Abdulia Molina Rivera, 25-year-old Sonia Argentina Guzman Tabat, and 18-year-old Josue Jonathan Caceres. Okay, and as well as the poor 8-year-old Daniel Enrique Lazo Guzman. Very sad. So anyway, the FBI is assisting in this investigation and the manhunt. And I hope they catch this fool. I hope they catch him. So very sad and unfortunate chain of events. Prayers and condolences to the families of the victims. Let me say this also. This is what I want to talk about before I get into the other topics. Matter of fact, you know what? I'll save that for last. We got to talk about something. We've got to talk about, you see, we've got to talk about why our people specifically are so, let me write this down because I forget, why our people are so forgiving. Because I was reading some of the comments on TikTok on the video that I did about Carolyn Bryant Donham, right? And, you know, some of the wanton supremacists were leaving comments calling her a legend and all this, honey. That's clearly how they feel. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I was surprised, however, at the response from Teal's family. So we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, let's talk about this disgusting stuff going on at Roxbury High School. Okay, everyone, please get those likes up. Please like and share. You know what? Let's save that for last. Let's save that for after this one. Let's talk about these drugs with this San Jose Police Department. Now, this actually happened about 3 weeks ago in the beginning of April. I just found out about it, but I wanted to address it because I think it's all just real crazy. Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this report.
Poisoning coming from Mexico.
The executive director of the San Jose Police Officers Association facing drug charges tonight, accused of importing and then distributing thousands of synthetic opioid pills.
I would equal that to, you know, your neighbor, Mr. Rogers is a serial killer, you know, totally stunned.
Neighbors of Joanne Segovia say they are in shock tonight after learning she has been charged by the United States Attorney. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Meebeck.
And I'm Greg Lee. Prosecutors say the 64-year-old leader of the police union has been importing the drugs for 7 years. The United States Department of Justice says Segovia, who is a civilian, not a sworn officer, used her personal and office computers to order thousands of pills to her home from abroad. There's a photo of her from her LinkedIn page. Authorities say between October 2015 and January of this year, Segovia had at least 61 shipments mailed to her home. They came from Hungary, India, Singapore, and other countries. The criminal complaint alleges that Segovia was apprehended as part of an ongoing Homeland Security investigation into a network that was shipping controlled substances into the Bay Area. We went by an address associated with her. Neighbors say they never would have suspected her of any illegal activity.
I did get a call from my wife that there were 10 or 11 people outside that look like police officers. When you think of drug activity, you think of people coming and going, but if this is going across the country, it sounds like drug Amazon. Pretty wild.
The complaint also alleges Segovia used her office at the Police Officers Association to distribute some of the pills. A spokesperson for the San Jose Police Officers Association responded to the charges, saying no one at the POA is involved or had prior knowledge of the alleged acts. The board of directors is saddened and disappointed at hearing this news, and we have pledged to provide our full support to the investigative authorities. The San Jose POA says Segovia is on paid leave. They say the union is cooperating with federal authorities as they continue their investigation. We will have more details on this story coming up at 11.
She's on paid leave. I just want you all to pay attention. Paid leave, okay? Also nefarious. But anyway, she's 64 years old. Now, if that's a current picture of her, she looks good for her age. I'll give her that much. But anyway, clearly nefarious. So they say the federal prosecutors last week accused her of illegally importing synthetic opioids, including fentanyl. And so this is like international drug deals gone mad. And let me just tell you all something. Training Day, that was not just a movie. That was a whole documentary, because guess what? That happens very often. Oh, no, sadly, that must not be a recent picture of her, because I see one right now and she looks a hot mess. But anyway, let me continue. So they say that a federal criminal complaint states that Segovia used her personal office computers to order the drugs between October 2015 and January of 2023. So she's been doing this for years. Okay, why is she on paid leave? She should be behind bars. All right. This is all so crazy. If it was somebody who looked like me, that'd have been locked up real quick. That's all I'm saying. Now, at least 61 shipments were mailed to her home from countries including Hong Kong, Hungary, and India. We know all of that. But they say she worked for the SJPOA for 2 decades as a civilian employee. The city's mayor said it's a slap in the face of our police officers. I'm glad she's going to be held accountable. Oh, so crazy. And they say the mayor responded. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up, see what the mayor had to say. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to show what the mayor had to say about all this foolishness. Oh, so nefarious. Pay attention. This is the police, like common criminals out here dealing in drugs and all kinds of stuff. Okay, but these are the people that are supposed to be upholding the law. Make it all make sense.
As you know, she's accused of illegally importing fentanyl into the U.S. using office equipment to do so. And we just aired some breaking news here that she was just fired from the job today. So just first off, what's your reaction to this? And do you agree with the union's move here?
Absolutely. I mean, look, let me just back up and say it's an incredibly disturbing allegation. You know, it's a slap in the face to our police officers and city workers who are working overtime to get fentanyl out of our community. In just the last 5 years, we've had over 400 people in our in our county die from fentanyl overdoses. So this is a very serious problem in our community. I'm glad that the U.S. Attorney has been looking into the sources of fentanyl. It's devastating to hear, what Ms. Segovia is accused of doing, and I'm glad that she's going to be held accountable. And equally importantly, that the POA has announced as of this morning that they will support and in fact will be paying for an external investigation into operations to understand what, if anything, they could have done differently.
Well, I'll tell you what. Rather than just investigating to see what they could have done differently, what they should be talking about is investigating to find out who else is involved in this. Because she wasn't doing this by herself. Is that what they think? They don't think that there's some other colleagues of hers, who've been doing the same thing. She's been doing this for almost a decade. From 2015 to January of 2023, that's almost 10 years. So quite frankly, I don't think that she's the only one doing this, and I'm sure they don't think that either. So please tell us, please, if you could, is involved. That's all I'm saying. I have questions. Who else is involved in this? I have so many questions, okay? Because I don't think, would she get the death penalty under the new laws that convicts dealers? Well, that's a good question. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure. But what I will say is I want to know who else is involved. She wasn't doing this whole thing by herself for all those years. Okay, somebody else knows something. That's the internal investigation they should be working on, not trying to focus on how they could have done something different. Focus on finding out who else was involved first. How about that? They didn't say anything about that. Now, I know good and darn well she wasn't the only one. Now, I'm willing to bet money on it. That's right. Rich said, oh, no, she's not alone. Exactly. Okay, please. Somebody probably put her onto the game. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Yes, Mr. Hotel said, of course, there were others involved. Right. Okay, they're not saying anything about that. Anyway, with that all being said, y'all, this next story is one that is so deplorable. And quite frankly, I mean, it's almost hard to believe that this is happening right here in anybody's country, let alone the United States. But, with all the things that go on here that are so sick and twisted these days, it really isn't a surprise. But it's still, for some reason, hard to comprehend that these things are being allowed to happen. I want you all to pay attention. Now, there is a school in New Jersey called Roxbury High School. If you have kids there, you might want to take them out. I keep telling you all to make sure you homeschool your kids if you can, because this is all sick. There are clearly agendas and narratives being pushed on a daily. So there is a librarian who works at the school who had these disgusting books full of hardcore, not soft, hardcore porn. ordered for the school. Now, some parents spoke out against it, and she got backlash and all of that. She's now painting herself as the victim, like, oh, woe is me. Sit down somewhere, Karen, okay? But the funny thing is, now, 2 of the parents who spoke out are actually being sued. 2 of the mothers who spoke out are being sued. And let me tell you all something. This book, one of them that I saw, is so sick. Now, I did my best to edit it out. I'm going to show you a clip. They'll show maybe a clip on the news video that I'm going to show you as well. But this is also sick. And I want you all to know that the things that I edited out are absolutely sick. Okay? I blushed looking at them myself. And I'm not even joking. All right? I don't do porn. I don't look at porn. The fact that they're putting this in schools for teens, kids, whatever to look at is disgusting and quite frankly beyond me. Okay? And they're not going to do anything about it. They said this is absolutely going to fly. Now, I really shouldn't be surprised because here's the thing. I believe it was in 2019, I did a Facebook video about a place in Texas where they were allowing middle schoolers and elementary school kids to learn about different provocative positions, sexual positions and all of that, how to put condoms on cucumbers. It was just all sick. Parents were complaining and they went in on the parents, told the children not to call their parents, not to call them mom and dad, but to call them guardians. Okay, clearly pushing agendas, teaching them about all sorts of things and positions that are inappropriate for children to know, as far as I'm concerned, at least children of that age. It's all sick. Why is this filth being peddled in schools at all, period? GoFood said, you've never seen porn, beloved. Well, good for you. You're not missing anything. Pay attention. And so anyway.
It's parents versus the school librarian over some books that are geared toward the LGBTQ community. That high school librarian selected the books in question, and the Roxbury Board of Education approved them. But just before school started, the librarian said she came under attack online by a group of parents.
Called me a pornographer and said, look what's happening in Roxbury High School.
One of the books in question is called Gender Queer. The parents objected to what they call pornographic images in the book. The verbal attacks on the librarian continued during board meetings, and she claims it got personal.
That I should be fired, that, called me a pornographer and all sorts of things.
She should be fired, and she is a pornographer. What are you talking about, lady? Now she wants to sue these poor parents who spoke out about it and expressed their disdain for it. She wants to sue them for defamation. Well, where's the lie? You see, there's different elements to prove defamation, and the first one is to prove that the person lied. Where is the lie? She is a pornographer. She's a freak and a pervert. And this is the epitome of grooming as far as I'm concerned. Okay, I don't care if they're teenagers. This is sick. This should not be in anyone's school. How is this helping anyone or anything? Yes, she should be fired. Absolutely. Let me just tell you all something. For those images that I blurred out, let me just tell you some of what was in there. Okay, what I blocked out. So you saw that person that was spread eagle, what the first picture of the person spread eagle. Well, that was someone, and they were showing their breast and their genitalia, okay, which was a male's, okay. And then the next one, they had the two boys, right? And then they had someone's private part and it said drip. This is all just sick. I'm just telling you. And then they had someone's, how can I even put this? I don't even know how to say this. They had on one where I had the big square covering up the whole half of the page. They were showing someone bent over with spreading their cheeks. And I'm not talking about the ones on your face. Then they had a whole bunch of cucumbers and eggplants on the next. This is what they had. Then they had somebody doing fellatio. This is what's in school. It's all sick. Demonic, in fact. But anyway, let me pull up this next report. Because this is an interview that was done with 2 of the women who are now being sued by this freak. Pay attention.
These are found in a number of schools in a number of states across the country. And if you flip through the pages, you'll be astonished on what you find inside. If your kid checks out genderqueer, they'll read this, and you might want to cover some ears here. The more I had to interact with my genitals, the less likely I was to reach a point of satisfaction. The best fantasy was one that didn't require any physical touch at all. That's actually an edited one from what we had earlier because we couldn't play it. With content like this, it's no surprise that parents were upset. Two parents in New Jersey found a copy of Genderqueer in their kids' library, and they decided to speak out. A number of other books like it. They went to the school board and demanded it be pulled from the library immediately, equating the book to hardcore pornography. But leave it to left-wing New Jersey to shut them down. So their efforts failed. The book was staying on the shelves with no restrictions, according to the school. And that's not even the worst part. Now the librarian of the school is suing two of the parents for defamation. The librarian says she was labeled as a, quote, child predator and was accused of luring children with pornography. Is this what it's had to come to? Parents can now get sued over pointing out inappropriate books in their kids' schools. Kristen Kobo, and Christina Ballestieri are two of the concerned parents at the center of the lawsuit, and they join me now. Kristen and Christina, thanks for being here. Kristen, let me start with you. So you find out about these inappropriate books. Kids as young as 13 could be checking them out. They're right there front and center in the library. You raise it to the appropriate people inside the school. You bring it to the school board. Obviously, the librarian is a part of providing this material. And what happens next?
Right. So we went straight to the administrators, to the school board. We spoke out month after month. First time we brought to their attention was in August of 2022. And I can tell you today, all those books still remain in the library.
They do. And not just that, but Christina, you're now being sued by the librarian of the school for simply pointing out that the books in her library are inappropriate?
Absolutely. All we did was contact the Board of Ed and let them know and make other parents aware of what was in there. And then we spoke about it at a Board of Ed meeting in March. And then a couple weeks later, we were served with a lawsuit.
A defamation lawsuit? Is that what it was? Just for simply saying this is what's in your library?
Defamation.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Basically questioning. Go ahead, Pete.
No,
Sorry.
no, please fill in the blanks.
So basically what we're arguing is we're in the fight for against the sexualization of our children in America and especially in New Jersey. And we feel that this content should not be made available to minor children, especially in the school district where our children are quickly rising. And that's what we spoke to. We spoke to the fact that these are our children, nobody else's, and we have the right to direct the upbringing. And those books do not match the morals and values that I teach in my home.
But unfortunately, they seem to match the values of New Jersey, which is pushing radical gender theories into kindergartens now, into elementary schools as well. Christina, is this an intimidation attempt? Like, try us, and if you do, we're going to put you on your heels.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that that's what this is. It's just to, in my opinion, scare not only us, but other parents from speaking up, and probably just to hit us with as many legal fees as possible.
Kristen, what's your message to other parents who might see this and they're scared to speak up because they'll be targeted? What's your message to them tonight?
Right. My message is we have one chance to get this right with our children, and we are their last line of defense against this agenda. And I say speak out. Who cares what they call you? You know your truth. You are on the right side of history. And again, we are the last ones. We have parents, grandparents, teachers reaching out to us saying, thank you. We've watched this go on in Roxbury for years and we're disgusted, and thank you for speaking out. So speak your truth and don't let anybody silence you. This is about the kids.
It's all about the kids. You're right. You're the only line of defense. Thank you for speaking up and fighting back. You'll find a lot of friends, a lot of allies that'll come alongside you who, once one person speaks up, they'll join you. Kristen, Christina, thank you.
Oh, so crazy. I mean, this is just all sick. Okay, now she has the nerve to sue them. Yes, it is utterly ridiculous, Queen Sam. Absolutely. So, I just find it interesting that even after the complaints and all of this, they are not going to remove those books, and they're not even going to give any restrictions. They're not going to remove them and not going to give any restrictions about this, beloveds. Why is it Can anyone help me out on this? Queen Sam said it happens in threes. You know it does. So listen, why do you all think that our people specifically are so forgiving to people who commit the most depraved and heinous acts upon them? What do you all think that's about? You know, I was reading the comments on that Carolyn Bryant story, and you had all these people who look like me saying things like, oh, she's going to burn in hell. She's going to get it in the afterlife. And I hope the Emmett Till gets her on the other side and all this stuff. Like, Lord, they really think people are going to get punishment in the afterlife? People really still believe in a place known as hell? There is no hell. Hell's right here on earth. This is what a lot of our people were saying, that she's going to burn in hell. There is no hell for anyone to burn in. The thing is, the people that indoctrinated our people and taught us that bullshit, they know that. That's why they do all the dirt. And then, let me tell y'all something that they were saying that really was getting on my nerves. And by they, I mean people who look like us. There was people who look like me saying foolish things like, you know, when I talked about in my video, I talked about how Till's family, specifically his cousin Wheeler, said that he didn't have any ill will against Karen Bryant Donham, and that he, you know, forgave her. And several other family members said the same thing. Yes, it's Stockholm Syndrome. But here's the thing. When I talked about how they were forgiving her and how I wouldn't have been, specifically when people didn't ask for it, when she didn't ask for their forgiveness. Now, why do you all think that our people are so forgiving? And some of them were leaving comments saying, well, forgiveness isn't for the person who did it. It's for the people who it happened to, so they can be at peace and all of this foolishness. I said, listen, that's just bullcrap. You know who taught our people that? The white supremacists. They taught us that so that you would be more likely to forgive rather than seeking revenge, rather than wanting to do the same thing back to them. They taught our people this. At the end of the day, there's no such thing as forgiveness. I want y'all to pay attention. They say, oh, the forgiveness helps them. How does forgiving the person who did something so depraved, heinous, and wicked and nefarious, how does that help you? It's not going to undo what they've done. How's that going to help you? You see, here's the thing that people don't realize. Many people who try to quote the Bible, the part where it says that, you know, you have to forgive others, because that's what they were saying too. It says, the Bible says you have to love your enemies. Honey, let me tell you something. The person who told you that you have to love your enemies is your enemy. Only your enemy put that in the Bible. You really think the Most High put that in the Bible? The Most High really said that? Here's the thing. If that were the case, yes, they'd be repeating it, mommy, mommy. They absolutely do. If that were the case, if the Most High really felt that we need to forgive and love our enemies, well, then why doesn't the Most High even do that himself? You see, the Most High took out Sodom and Gomorrah, destroyed the whole town, the whole city. Did he not? Except for Lot and his wife and family. And even the wife, when she turned to a pillar of salt, if you listen to the allegory, I mean, that's what it says, right? So the Most High didn't forgive the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, told the angels that if there were not 10 amongst them who were righteous, then to destroy them. Right? What about when Samson prayed to have the strength to knock down the walls and get rid of the Philistines? Well, the Most High gave him the strength. Does that sound like forgiveness? What about when Moses was sent to tell the Pharaoh to let his people go, and the Most High said if he doesn't, he's going to send the plagues, and he sent them. And one of the plagues was to delete, to slay, or to take away the firstborn from every household. I be trying so hard not to say the word K-I-L-L, y'all, but I still say it. I'm sorry. I just cannot stop saying it. But anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. So he who loves their enemy is a fool. That's all I'm saying. You love your enemy who rightfully persecutes and abuses you. That's a fool. You know what that sounds like? Here's the thing. This is how y'all know y'all sound crazy. Those of you who believe that. If you really believe you should love your enemies, then why do y'all tell women that are victims of domestic violence that they should leave? That they should press charges? Aren't you supposed to love your enemies? Clearly, if somebody's beating the H out of you all the time, that's your enemy, right? See, some people want to have it both ways. Some people want to have it both ways. If people are supposed to love their enemies, then why are the people in the congregation suing Bishop Whitehead for evicting them, for grifting them out of their money, those specific parishioner whom he took the $90,000 from, allegedly? Why is she suing him? Isn't she supposed to forgive her enemies? Why did the lady that he choked out in church file charges? Shouldn't she forgive her enemies? See, y'all don't even believe that stuff yourself. You just repeat it because you heard it so much. Y'all heard it so much. If we're supposed to forgive and love our enemies, why does the say in the Bible, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord? Okay, so God gets vengeance. Now, if God gets vengeance, why are we supposed to love our enemies? Y'all need to start paying attention. That's all I'm saying. You've been indoctrinated. You've been led amok. You've been hoodwinked and bamboozled, like Malcolm said. And some of you are still hoodwinked and bamboozled. I mean, when I was reading these comments where people are just saying, oh, you have to forgive the person. That's not for them. It's for you, so you feel better. I've never felt better by trying to forgive someone who did me dirty. You know when I felt better? When I did something even dirtier to them. That's when I felt better. And I didn't do it right away. I waited. Because you see, the element of surprise is key. Now, I'm not telling y'all to do any of that. I'm just telling y'all what I've done in the past. Sorry, I roll. I'm a Pisces and I'm petty. Sue me. Queen Sam said it's the pork queen. Sit down, Queen Sam. But seriously, it's just interesting how after hundreds of years, whole centuries have passed, some of our people still believe the bullshit. With all this information, all of the technology at our fingertips, Google right there with only a click away, only a mouse click away, all the social media spreading information, and people still believe what they were indoctrinated to believe by slave masters so long ago. You should ask yourselves this, honestly. How do you live in 2023, but you still have the same thinking, some of you, as your ancestors who were slaves on plantations? You still believe the same things that they believe. They were on plantations. They didn't have televisions, radios, cell phones, internet. They had none of that. They didn't even have word of mouth. But y'all have all this information and technology, and some of you still believe the same thing that they were taught. How is that even possible? How do you live with prehistoric thoughts running through your brain? I have questions. Milk 35, are you spamming my chats? I have questions. So it is sad. It is very sad. You know, I mean, I'm just reading these comments. It was all so crazy. Slaves were made to think a certain way. We don't have to think that way anymore. Exactly. Reggie said bewitched. Yes. Under a spell. Some of them are under a spell. The spell of the ghost. Okay, the ghost spell. Like the gospel. That's what it is. Some of y'all don't know it yet. Absolutely spellbound, Reggie. Sandra says bamboozled. Miss Hotel said he's tired. But at the end of the day, this is really sad. Modern slaves by choice, says NSI. Absolutely. And so my whole thing is it's time to wake up. Okay? If you want to forgive people, you can forgive them, but do it because that's what you genuinely want to do, not because that's what someone told you you need to do or you have to do, or because the Bible says so. Okay? Because the Bible's full of contradictions and misinformation and allegories and all of that. Okay? Some of the people who believe these foolish things don't even read the Bible, because if they did, they'd know that it doesn't even make sense. How do they tell you in the one hand to turn the other cheek, and then in the other hand it says an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth? Which one is it? Just ask yourself. How is it that the Most High supposedly tells us we have to love our enemies, but then in the Bible, his enemies are killed by him? How is it that we're supposed to turn the other cheek, but the Most High says in the Bible, he will have vengeance, the wrath of God? How is it? These things make no sense. And they make no sense because they're not true. This is what you've been indoctrinated to think, and it's time for you to stop thinking what the enemy wants you to think. It's time for you to rise into a higher level of consciousness, okay? Anybody that follows my spiritual channel, I better not ever hear y'all saying such foolishness, because y'all know better. All right? Twisted thinking and twisted teachings, absolutely, beloved. And so I just had to bring that up because I was just getting so sick to my stomach as I read the foolishness. Okay, I read the foolishness. And I'm probably going to have to do a response video to some of those people in those comments because it's just too much. Okay, it's just absolutely too much. It's crazy. Like, wake up from the slumber. Otherwise, you just may die in your sleep. Okay? At the end of the day, and here's the thing. They talk about, oh, she's going to burn in hell and this and that. What hell is there for her to burn in? You see, Emmett was in hell on this earth. When what happened to him, that was hell for him. To go through that torturous death. Okay? To leave this world in such a heinous, depraved way, that was hell. She lived to get old. To have lived to be a ripe old age. And as some of the wanton supremacists said in my comments, she was a whole legend to them. That's what they said. Some of them said she was a legend and said that we were playing the victim. That's what they said. So I just want you all to remember that there's still people just like Carolyn Bryant Donham walking around today. We call them Karens. But there's people still like her. And there's people who are still just like J.W. Milam and Roy Bryant. There's people still like that. And there's people still like those jurors who acquitted them. There's people still like that. So you need to be asking yourself, are you still going to be like the people from all these years ago that didn't know any better? They just did what they were indoctrinated to do and told to think. You're not going to wake up and rise into a new frame of thoughts, a higher level of thinking. Is that what you're not going to do? Because you see, you don't have the shackles on anymore. But some of our people, sadly, their minds are shackled. They're mentally enslaved. So if you can mentally enslave someone, you don't even have to control the body because they'll bring themselves to their own demise. Look at how when Dylan Roof went into that church and took out those 9 people, even as they prayed with him. And before the people were buried in the ground, their family members were up. They said, oh, we forgive him. How do you forgive someone? Here's the thing. Let's just say, even if you do believe when the Bible says we have to forgive those, right? We have to forgive people. But here's the thing. It says also in the Bible that in order for us to get to heaven, we have to repent of our sins. You have to repent of your sins for even God to forgive you. That's what it also says in the Bible. So here's the question. Why do so many of our people foolishly say they forgive people who didn't even ask for their forgiveness, who clearly show no remorse and who darn sure don't repent? So you just forgive them for free, for nothing, at no cost? Like, you cannot make it make sense no matter how you try. Okay, that's what you cannot do. It's absolutely not going to happen. It's foolish. Okay, it is foolish to think so. All right, it's foolish to think so. That's right, Claudette said it makes no sense. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. This was what they do, Queen says, Island. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So you have to think about all the injustices that happen, specifically to people who look like me. And they continue to happen because our people continue to be oh so forgiving. You see, here's what I want you all to pay attention to. When I brought up the woman who's in an abusive relationship suffering from domestic violence and how people will say, oh, you should leave. You should press charges. Why are you staying there? And you say to yourself, she's crazy. She's a fool. Why don't she just leave? And then when she ends up deleted by the person who was abusing her all this time, then you say, well, she could have just left. Y'all don't realize that's us. Y'all don't realize we're the woman in the domestic violence relationship. We're in a whole abusive relationship with America. America beats us down. They knock us down. They trample on us. They take from us. They don't give us what they owe. They only pander and just tell us what we want to hear when they want something from us, just like the man who beats his wife. He goes out and buys her gifts. Says, oh, baby, I'm sorry. You know I didn't mean it. I love you. And she falls for it. That's what we do. That's what we do. When America says, we're not giving you reparations, and Kamala says, no, we're not going to do anything specifically for African Americans. No. But then Biden says, if y'all don't vote for me, you ain't black. And then right before the election, he starts going around visiting black churches, calling all the black pastors to come to the White House and have talks, being all nice and all that, reminding you how Trump's so racist and so bad. And then you start saying, yeah, you know what? If I got to choose between Trump and Biden, I'm going to pick Biden. He's the lesser of the two evils. That's what our ancestors used to do. Our ancestors literally would be arguing amongst themselves with people from another plantation about whose massa was the best. They're both slave owners, oppressing you, subjugating you. How is either of them any better than the other? But that's what they thought. And that's what some of you think. You Biden sexuals. Oh, I just voted for Biden. I don't like either one, but I voted because he was the best of the two, better of the two evils, the lesser of the two evils. Evil's just evil. So if somebody kills somebody with a gun and then somebody kills them with a knife, the person with the knife is better. If somebody shoots somebody 10 times and does it, somebody shoots them 1 time and makes it quick and does it, that person's better. See, here's how you sound crazy. Here's how you sound crazy. When you start saying stuff like that, when you make excuses for your own foolishness, it's time to stop being foolish. Okay? It's time to stop being foolish. Who said you had to vote for either of them? Who said you owe either of them, either party, anything when neither party's done anything for us? You should vote, if you're going to vote, for your own best interest. Not about party, but for your own best interest. If you're going to vote. Don't feel obligated to vote for either party because none of them. Who did something for us? Where's those reparations? And they string us along. I want you to pay attention to how they string us along, just like the husband who beats the wife. Oh, I'm going to stop. It's going to get better. We're going to work it out. And telling the woman what she wants to hear for years and years, as all the while she's growing older, getting beaten more and more, starting to lose her good looks because he's beating her so much. That's us. When we ask for reparations, oh, well, you know, we can't give you reparations just now because the economy's in the tank. And then other people, it would be divisive. That's what Bernie Sanders said. And then he played crazy. Reparations, what are reparations? Bernie Sanders, reparations is what they gave your people for something that didn't even happen on this land. That's what it is. And then they said, well, you know what? According to HR 40, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about these reparations for, about 8 years. See what we can come up with. And then they say, well, we might give reparations to the people in California who are the descendants of slaves. So wait a minute, you might give them to the people in California, but what about the rest of the states? Do we have to wait another year before they go to the next state? 2 years before they go to the next? 4 years before they go to the next? They draw it out and stretch it out and just keep us dangling like a fish on a hook. And when it's time for elections, they come around and they start doing stuff that they know we like to see. Bill Clinton playing the saxophone, Kabami dancing to Cardi B, Hillary pulling out hot sauce out of her purse. Then they go on shows with people who look like us, like The Breakfast Club, Roland Martin. And they tell you a few things you want to hear, and they sit down with a few people you like Cardi B. Why is any politician sitting down talking to Cardi B? I'm sorry, I have nothing against Cardi B, but she's no politician. She's not even a scholar. Why don't they sit down and talk to some Black scholars, some professors? I have questions. Some revolutionaries. I have questions. At the end of the day, make it all make sense. One love to the runaway slaves. Okay, thank you, Allegory Set Forth, beloved, for your contribution and your kind words. Peace, love, and blessings to you. I'm just saying, none of you can make this make sense. And then we want to sit here and we keep eating it. Everything they throw out at us, we just eat it. But meanwhile, we'll fight and bicker amongst ourselves. We'll be divisive. We'll say it's okay for people like Bussy Reek Nasheed to tell us not to fool with Black immigrants who look like us, who have the same struggle we have. And we'll sit there and go along with him. That's okay. It's no problem. That's no problem. But we won't address the real issues. Neither will he. We sit here and continue to be fooled and play these silly little games and let them string us along. They keep us in a hamster wheel, going around and round in circles, a never-ending cycle of BS, and we're never getting anywhere, never moving one step farther. All these marches that we've held, all the protests we've had, all the gatherings, and we've not moved an inch. And then we get mad at our own people because they say or do something we disagree with. Like, for example, Ice Cube. When Ice Cube went to sit down with Trump's administration, some of you got mad and started calling him a raccoon and all this foolishness. Ice Cube has always been pro-Black and for his people. Always. And some of you actually called him a raccoon because he sat down to talk to Trump. But he went to Biden first, and Biden told him, wait till the election. Well, guess what, Biden sexuals? It's about to be the election time again. And Biden still hadn't sat down. And he still hasn't sat down and talked to Ice Cube. What y'all got to say about that? For those of you who went in on that man, who was simply trying to help. And see, here's the thing. I find it interesting because Ice Cube has his money. He's already made a nice career for himself. He's got his money. He didn't have to go and sit down and talk about anything for us to anybody. Some of y'all don't appreciate it. Y'all say, oh, the celebrities, they won't do anything. How come they don't build grocery stores in our neighborhoods? But then when a celebrity like Ice Cube or Colin Kaepernick goes out and puts their neck on the line, tries to help you, this is what you do. Some of y'all call Colin Kaepernick a sellout because he took the settlement rather than going to court. I would have taken the settlement too. He's not a sellout because of that. That's what they owed him. That's what he deserved. And he took a settlement rather than waiting possibly a whole decade to fight them continuously in court. Because that's what they do when these things happen. Don't forget the Black officer who lost her pension. She literally had to fight them for 10 years, a whole decade to get her money. Who wants to go through that? You could be dead in 10 years. You never know what's going to happen. Most people take a settlement when it's offered, if it's close to what they're asking for in the first place. Many of you have done it when you've had car accidents and slip and falls and whatnot. But you want to call Colin Kaepernick a sellout because he did that? Some of you, I don't know what or how you think. It's all amazing to me, and it's frustrating at the same time. Some of you just don't seem to use critical thinking skills. Now, I'm not saying all of you, but I'm sure y'all know that some of our people do not use critical thinking skills. And in fact, some of our people sadly don't even use common sense. Some of our people just don't even use common sense. Some of y'all was talking trash about Michi X because this woman had this event that was very nice. I was there. She spent money out of her pocket, her own pocket. She didn't collect donations. She wasn't out here grifting. She spent thousands of dollars out of her own pocket, $4,000 plus for flights alone. But some of y'all, and she gave away free tickets. She gave me tickets. She gave me 3 VIP tickets. So some of you were saying, oh, she's crazy. How's she going to make money? She gave away 100 tickets. So let me get this straight. So y'all mad at her because she gave away tickets, but y'all not mad because Busserick charged people $500 for tickets and told them a lie that he's going to have a wall with their names and business on it and didn't do it? Can y'all please explain yourselves? For those of you who I'm talking about, y'all know who you are. The shoe fits, wear it. See, this is all like junk thinking. Y'all ever heard of junk DNA? Y'all ever heard of what scientists call as junk DNA? Some of y'all got junk DNA in your brains because your thinking is trash. And when your thinking's trash, well, this is what you get: foolishness, low vibrational thought processes, bad patterns of thought and foolishness, nonsensical, right? Idiocracies. You just don't make any sense, is all I'm saying. So anyway, I could go on and on and on. At the end of the day, I don't have time for it. I would suggest that those of you, it would behoove you, or some of you, to stop thinking on the lower spectrums. Start trying to elevate your mind. Start trying to step out of the box. Start trying to continuously stay in a perpetual cycle of nothingness, going nowhere, never achieving goals, never accomplishing anything, making excuses and foolish justifications for your own BS, and listening to lies that have been told for centuries. Why are you listening to lies that they told centuries ago and still believing them? Didn't you learn from what happened to the ancestors? If the things they were lied to about were true, why are we right here? Why are we right here in this predicament that we're in? Okay? I'm just saying. That's right. Eileen says, break the spell. Yes. Pink Blue said, one word explains it all. Stupidity. Yes. You see, at this point in 2023, if you're still allowing yourself to be indoctrinated, if you're still allowing yourself to be grifted and conned, even when you've seen proof of frauds, if you're still allowing yourself to be told lies by some of these pulpit pimps who clearly have not your best interest, but only their own best interest and whatever they can make from the congregation. If you're still allowing yourself to believe the lies that were told and sold to our ancestors, and we see where it got them, and you still want to believe that crap, then you're just being you're being willfully foolish. Okay? Stuck in the matrix, says Juju. Yes. You see, you need to get out of the matrix and rise into a neo way of thinking. Okay? See, that's what I do. Okay? I'm on a neo way of thinking. That's what I'm doing. I'm on a higher level of thinking. And you need to get yourselves there, those of you who are not. Those of you on my spiritual channel, I believe most of you are, but those of you who are not, you need to rise into that level of thinking, because this is just pure foolishness. It's never going to get us anywhere. And the rest of you are foolishly holding the rest of us back, because we have to move as a nation. Okay? We don't have time for divide and conquer tactics, divisive, foolish rhetoric. If there are some Black immigrants who don't like us, then don't deal with them. But the ones that do and want to work with you, work with them. You're stronger together than you are apart. Don't listen to the people who are saying the same thing as the wanted supremacists. The people who look like us but are saying the same things, using the same talking points, the same strategies and tactics as the wanted supremacists. They're not working in your best interest. They don't care about your interest. They don't care about you. They care about fattening their pockets. And they're getting paid twice, because they're getting paid from you for being a fool, for listening to their rhetoric, and then they're getting paid for the wanted supremacists who are paying them to do it. Okay, remember that. With that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning back in once again. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And also, for those of you that follow the spiritual channel, Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye, I'll be uploading a video for you shortly. It'll be scheduled for 6:30. All right, until next time, beloveds, peace.
Sold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got